Who likes a free game? I know I do. Let's take a look at Final Fantasy VII Remake, one of PlayStation Plus's free games of the month. Oh, and one more thing. Welcome to the night shift. Let's get you guys clocked in. How's it going, everybody? It is I, your forever and always shift leader, Logan. And today we're here to do our Review Friday. And I thought, what better than another free game that is offered by PlayStation for its Plus members? And I tell you, this month is crazy. You know, we got Remnant from the Ashes, and then turn around, we got Final Fantasy VII Remake. I mean, come on, guys. This was a contender for Game of the Year. And I don't blame it. It is a absolutely gorgeous game. Fun game to play. And I don't want to get ahead of myself because I still have a review to do. So, with all that being said, if you haven't joined us for one of our reviews before, geez, if I can speak, we have 4 categories that we base on. We have story, gameplay, audio and visuals, and then, of course, any bugs or issues or little nitpicky stuff that we want to get into that we ran across the way. Now, of course, this is just a solo review. It is my take on it. So, again, just like I hope everyone understands, this is an objective review. Now, that being said, let's talk about the story. Square Enix is a fantastic company when it comes to story. And whenever it has the words Final Fantasy in front of it, you know it's gonna be story. And the fact that this game originally came out so long ago, I wouldn't be able to even tell you how long ago it was without looking it up, but it's been a long time because this game originally was a turn-based combat game that came out way before any of this, and to see it evolve to this, keeping true to the story, says so much about the story. The story is so airtight and it's solid, and the fact that so many people know who Cloud is a testimony to this game. But anyways, so the story of the game is rock solid. I love how the visuals help enhance moments that you're supposed to feel, the heartwarming instances. I love how you feel the intense situations going on, and the voice acting cast just, nails it. This story is so well known, I'm not even going to bother going too far in depth on it just because I know a lot of you know it. But if you are a younger generation person and you've never heard of Final Fantasy VII, seriously, check it out. Because this game is all about this merc who, used to be a soldier for this company and leaves that to go off and pretty much just fend for himself, but stick it to that company any way he can. And the storytelling in this game gets intense as you go through. I'm trying not to. I know a lot of you hardcore fans of Final Fantasy are probably looking at me going like, "You don't know what the story is." Huh? Listen, I'm just trying to get some people interested. I really am. But I don't want to ruin anything because I love these stories. And Final Fantasy is fantastic though. But that aside, seriously, the fact that this game does as well. Even in the instances like you see right here where it's gameplay and then you see a character move back to add to the story right then and there in gameplay. it keeps you in it. I mean, I never once felt like I was not in the game. So, story is absolutely wonderful. I love this game for it. Now, gameplay. This is one of those things where you either love the gameplay or you hate it with a passion. It is a neither. It is an it's an either or. It's not a you learn to love it or anything. No. If if you don't like swordplay, if you don't like being able to control other characters when you're down and other things like that, this might not be the game for you. There's so much planning ahead of time. You upgrade your materials, you add these things to your weapons, you add defensive buffs, offensive buffs. There's a lot in it, a lot. And even for me who's played a lot of games like this, I felt overwhelmed when I started. So I can see from a newcomer's perspective where it's a lot to absorb and it's a lot to understand. But don't let that freak you out. It will work out. It, if you like these kinds of games and you feel overwhelmed, do it. And if you're a straight up newcomer interested in the game, I highly recommend trying it out because more times than not, you'll figure it out as you go along. And if you can't, it's no big deal. It's one of those things that it's just a learned thing. You'll eventually get there. But I love the fighting style of the game. I love how, like I said before, you can switch between characters, and every character is so uniquely themselves. I mean, I I don't want to go too far in depth on it just because I don't want people to know spoilers, but I mean, you saw Cloud there with another character. His name's Barrett, and his whole motif is his right arm is a Gatling gun, and so you can literally just start pelting things with your Gatling gun as him. And each character has different magic available to them. You can give Cloud obviously just about any magic, but there's so much diversity that it's crazy. And I mean, I'm not trying to make it sound like this game is overcomplicated, but in a way for newcomers it can be. So, but that's what I love about it, right? You know, the fact that I can come in here and I can fight the way I want. I can play the characters that I enjoy, and not always, but that's why they strive so hard to make Cloud so wonderful to play as. And I just love all the abilities and techniques that you can learn, and just adding to your gameplay. I know, like, the ability to have like a triple slash where you're just slashing enemies real quick. That's cool. Now, I will say I did find, in comparison to some other Final Fantasy and other games like this, I did find the I think they call it the ATB bar. I did find that a little annoying. Mainly because I feel like that's I feel like that was them keeping to their turn-based system a little bit, but at the same time a little too much, because I feel like, okay, sure, if my attack-ready abilities are focused on that, okay, but like my spell-based abilities, which already are limited by my magic points or my MP, why can't I use those? Why can't I use my potions when I don't have ATB? That to me was like, okay, that might be a little bit of a misstep, but that may just be me. So, but that all being said, I mean, gameplay is absolutely fun and enjoyable. And it's a challenge, which is always fun because I'm always looking for something new to challenge me. Now, that being said, what about audios and visuals? I mean, I have the gameplay playing for you, and you can probably kind of hear it, but not so much just because I turned it down a little bit. But my God, anytime you get a Final Fantasy game, guys, oh, it is an absolute banger. Final Fantasy nails visuals, and this one's no exception. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous. Not to mention, like I was saying before, the like audio, like the actors who are playing the characters, they're spot on, and they add to the drama, they add to the heartwarming moments and other things like that. The music, my God, Final Fantasy just knows how to make a score that just brings it. I know back when Final Fantasy 15 came out, one of my favorite things of all time was the opening credit, like the opening scene where you have Noctis and his bodyguard slash friends. I mean, you call them who you want. I consider them friends because we fight together, we live together, blah, blah, blah. But that whole intro where you're pushing the car and you've got the Stand By Me music playing in the background. Oh, it left such an impression on me. And this game is exactly the same. I mean, you've got music to help pull the story forward, intensifies when you're in battle, detensifies when you're in that heartwarming moment, adds to it. It is absolutely perfect for these games. Perfect for any game. I mean, let's face it, a lot of games could take a lesson or two from Final Fantasy series where music is key and audio and visuals are key. Now, that being said, I don't want to pick on it, but it is my job to pick on it. And I did see a few things that weren't a huge deal, but they made me laugh. So, I'm not even sure if I incorporated it in the film or not, but there are two instances where I just sat there and I was like, yeah, that wasn't a good choice. Number one, so as you can see, you play with companions. They're NPCs, but they're companions that you can turn into at and at certain times. You know, if they're in your party, you can turn into them. Well, at this point in time, they weren't in my party, but they were clearly the companions, and for whatever reason, they all just randomly started running together and were running to their location. And I know a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, I mean, but the main character runs everywhere." Okay, yes, but to see an NPC randomly do it, it's just weird. And then there was the thugs. The thugs, my God, I probably laughed for a solid 10 minutes before I could even calm myself down to realize it wasn't necessarily that big of a deal, but it was so funny because they used the exact same animations for both all the thugs. And it just so happened that the leader of the thugs and the thug was behind him, and they started walking, and their animation was in sync the whole way from point A to point B. And so all I see is right arm forward, left arm forward, right arm forward, left arm forward for both of them. Just in sync, and it was so funny. I couldn't believe it. It just was like, okay. Yeah. But I will say this. that's about all I can really honestly pick on, aside from, like I said before, the ATB, which is, me being picky. It's what they wanted to do, and that's okay. But like I said, I just wouldn't have done it. But that all being said, right, we have all that. Like I said, I didn't run into too many glitches. I just ran into those little, you know, audio visual kind of things that I noticed that were just kind of funny. So overall, how do I score this game? I mean, it's hard and not hard. I mean, this game was a contender for game of the year, if not game of the year. I can't remember. I act like it's that long ago, but it wasn't. I think Last of Us 2 though got game of the year, if I remember correctly. But it was a contender for a reason. I mean, the story is compelling and breathtakingly amazing, and there are heartwarming moments to balance out the intense action and combat, and it's perfect. I mean, I wouldn't ask for the story to change. I wouldn't ask for anything from the story other than to just get me part two already. So I very rarely do I think that a game does super well on story, but this one does. I'm gonna say a 9 for me on story. It's that good. Gameplay, this one's my opinion, but I heavily felt like the ATB like hindered me. Like it felt like if I didn't have that, I could have achieved so much more. I wouldn't have struggled as much, and I would have done better. And that alone knocks me down just a little. But I mean, aside from that, gameplay is fun. It's compelling. I kind of wish I could jump at any given point that I wanted to, but you can't. Um, I did feel like that was a nuisance, but I mean, I'm gonna still say like a 7, 7.5 maybe for gameplay. It's still fantastically fun to play. And then you've got audio and visuals, which, let's face it, guys, I'm not going to give it a perfect 10 because we're getting close to that, but I I know that they're releasing a PlayStation 5 upgrade, and at that point, I'll probably do another review of Final Fantasy 7. Just a quick one, not an in-depth one like this, but I will probably go in and readjust. But going off of how it is now, I will say probably a 8.5, maybe 9. I'll go 8.5, just so that way we're rounded out at 8 or 8.5, which, yeah, you know, yeah, 8.5, yeah, for sure. So, and then you just had those little few nitpicky things, which I'm not going to necessarily too worry about. So, like I said, I think our overall score for Final Fantasy VII is going to be a 8. I think they think that's where it lands. 8, maybe 8.5. We had that 9. We had a 7.5, and then an 8.5. Yeah, it'd be an 8, I think. No, it'd be an 8.5. It'd be an 8.5. We'll say 8.5. So, like I said, it's a fantastic game. Loved it from the start to where I'm at now. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I still have a long ways probably to go in the game, but I'm enjoying every moment of it, and I plan to keep enjoying it. If you haven't played it yet, I highly suggest you do. And of course, it is a free to play game this month. So if you own a PlayStation, they're like, seriously, just and you're a PlayStation Plus member, just like add it to your library. And then later on, when they add upgrades and stuff, just play it. Like, have fun with it. I mean, there's no reason not to. It's that good. I promise you, it's that good. So, yeah, yeah. Well, guys, that's all I got for you. So, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like, comment on the video. Guys, I want you to interact with us. If you want to say something to us. Even if you just want to say, "Cool video," I will talk to you. I will be like, I'll be like, "Thanks." I'm glad you enjoyed it. Anything in particular you want to see? Like, let's talk. And then of course, if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button, guys. We are growing, and we are growing fast, and you know that's all I want is for us all to have a community where we all play games, have fun, and enjoy each other's company. So if you enjoy our channel's content, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. Let's get everyone in here so we can all have a friendly community and just have fun. But that's all I got for you guys. Definitely go check out Final Fantasy VII's Remake and check out the original. They have that on store too. I don't know 100% the price, but definitely check it out because it's cool to see what it was like and what it is now. So, I'll see you guys next time.